I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to create a square logo out of a rectangular logo. Facebook Live requires a square logo for their streaming, so most of the time you don't have a square logo. So this is just a quick and easy way to turn a rectangular logo into a square logo. So this is the logo that we're going to convert. Obviously very rectangular, very long. Changing their logo around probably will not match the design intent of their original logo. If they have a copyright on their logo, then changing it around is not going to fill that copyright. But a shape like this, well, I'll just show you here what happens to it. So let's go into Photoshop. You can do this on the Mac or the PC. It doesn't really matter. I'm using the Mac here, but I'll try to step you through how to do it simply without any keystroke shortcuts, so that you can do it on the PC the same way. So we're just going to open that graphic. Okay, and here's the rectangular graphic. So if I were to just turn this one into a square, I'll show you what happens here. So we're going to change the canvas size. Set this to pixels. So the width is 1919. If I change the height also to 1919, make sure relative is not checked here. If you do relative, then it will change the size of the image proportionally. If I have relative unchecked, then I can make the width and the height exactly the same. So this is what happens, and this is too small. Facebook needs an image that's tiny, and so you're going to end up with something that looks like that, which would be unreadable on Facebook. So this would not work, even though this is technically a square graphic. So I'm going to show you a way to turn this into a square that may work a little bit better. So the first thing you need to do, just create a new file. Since we know the size of this one is 1919, I'm going to make both the width and the height 1919, and then we'll crop it down later, or resize it later maybe. Alright, so there's my blank canvas. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to just grab the logo out of here to start with. This is going to be different on every logo you work with. So for this one, I'm just going to copy this little image, this little graphic here, come over here and paste it. So on the Mac I did Command C. I'm sorry, let me back up here. I was probably doing that too fast. To select this, come up here to the box in the upper left corner, the select box. You're going to draw a rectangle or a square around this, which kind of looks like a butterfly. Once you've got it fully surrounded by the dotted lines, you're going to go Edit, Copy. Come over here to the new one, and you're going to go Edit, Paste. And it'll paste right into the middle. Now if you look closely here, there's a little dot right here in this area. And we need to get rid of that. So I'm just going to come over here to the eraser tool. You could either use that or you could use a paintbrush tool and just get rid of that little dot. Alright, let's go back over to the original image. Go to the select menu and deselect. That will deselect that area that you've already selected. Hit the select tool again. And you can grab, for this one I'm going to turn the text into 3 lines of text rather than one long line. So I'm going to draw a box around the first part of the text. Edit, Copy. Come back over here to your new image. Edit, Paste. And once it's on there, come up here to the upper left, click the little arrow. This is the Move tool. And then you can move this to wherever you want it to be. So I'm just going to stick it down here, right beneath our graphic. Once you've got it where you want to go, just click off that. I'll click the select tool to get off that. Go back into your other image, deselect, make sure that your marquee box is selected again. And then you're going to come over here and draw a box around the next word, copy, come back to this image, paste, grab your move tool, slide it down. You could center it. I'm going to left justify it. I think it looks a little bit more modern when it's left justified. Deselect, go back to the original, deselect. Marquee tool, grab the last bit of the text, edit, copy, come back over, edit, paste, grab the move tool, slide it down. Alright, now this one I can't move it up as far as I want because I selected too much of the white. So a couple ways we can deal with that. One is, once I get it lined up here the way I want, probably like that. If you look over here on the left side, you've got layers. This is the top layer right now. You've got your other layers here for each element that we've copied and pasted into this. So one thing I can just do is drag layer 4 down here beneath layer 3, and that will make layer 3, which is the word dental, appear on top. So I can slide this up a little bit farther now. Alright. Looks pretty good. You can also turn off layers if you want to. So you can still see here that a little bit of the eye is cut off. Nobody may notice this, but they might. So it's probably worth fixing it. So we'll zoom in just a little bit here. To zoom in on the Mac, it's Command plus. On Windows, I think it's Alt plus or Control plus. So one way to deal with this is just erase. Go to, let's see, the dental layer. So that's layer 3 up here. So make sure layer 3 is selected. I'm going to choose a pretty small brush. I'm going to come down here and just erase a little bit of the white out of layer 3, and that allows the eye to fully appear. So that looks pretty good to me. It doesn't have to be totally perfect for this. So the next thing we're going to do is make a square image, or we can crop this one down to a square size and move everything back together. Now, I like the way this looks, so I'm going to do something that probably I wouldn't have to do, but I think I'm going to this time. Come over to the layer menu. I can flatten the image. That means instead of having 4 different layers, if I flatten it, that means everything's going to be in one layer. So I no longer have layers. That means I can't edit anything separately now. So you really don't want to do that unless you absolutely have to. In this case, I'm doing it because we're going to end up exporting a JPEG. Okay, so after merging everything into one layer, I'm going to create another new image that's the final output size of the image that I want. So I'm going to go File, New, and this time I'm going to make my image or my canvas size 500 by 500. This makes a nice sized image for the Facebook square icon, and it's not too small. So there's my final output. That's going to be 500 by 500. Come back over to here, and I'm going to draw a box around my new flattened image here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Copy it, come over here to my new size, paste it, and so now this is really the wrong size. So what we're going to do is a transform. On the Mac, that's Command T. I think it's, where is that? Yeah, Edit, Transform, and then you can scale it. So when you scale it, if you grab one of these little squares here on the corner, without holding the Shift key, you can scale it to whatever shape you want, but I want to keep it square, so I want to keep the proportions right. So I'm going to hold down Shift while I scale it so it's always going to be square. Try to fill up this box as much as I can. So I like that. Just a little bit of white on top, a little bit of white on the bottom. And then if you click the arrow, the move tool up here, it's going to ask you if you want to apply. Of course you do. And so then you're done. That's your square image, 500 by 500. And this works for Facebook live streaming. From here, you can just save it. File save as. If you want to be able to edit it in the future, you can leave it as a Photoshop file. I don't want to, so I'm just going to make it a JPEG here. I'm going to call it, square, or whatever I want to name it. You can leave the image quality 12 or 10, somewhere up in there. And you're done.